Hi guys, it's Sam for Digital Meat, and this video is basically just explaining how the assets, the PBR game render assets, work really, how to use them, what you get in the pack, and all that kind of thing. So let's get rid of this. And once you've made your download from the store, you will get a zip file. So I've just placed these on my desktop, so I'm going to unzip the fireplace, and I'm going to unzip the bedside table as well. Okay, so what you'll get is a folder, and in that folder you will get a C4D file with a text folder that contains a substance material, and you'll also get a Unity package. So let's go through each one of these. I'm going to take the bedside table and open it in Cinema 4D. Let's deal with this first. Now, the way I've sort of packaged this up is so that you have to do nothing. One thing to note, before you can view substance materials in Cinema 4D, you will need the substance plugin. And I'll put a link under this video that will take you to this page on Algorithmic's website. So it's a free plugin for Cinema, Substance and Cinema. Download the plugin for Windows and for Mac. There you go. That's all you need to know. So you download the plugin, and what you'll get is a this substance file. In fact, I'm going to run it. I've got the plugins already installed, but I just want you to note one thing. It will say, welcome to Substance, just click next for that, and then here it will say destination folder R16. Now it will say that whether you've got R16 installed or not. So if you've got R16, great, leave it at that and click install. If you've got R17 installed, you just need to change that last number for R17 and then install, and it'll install it in the correct place for R17. I've already got installed for both, so I won't bother doing that. And then once that's done, you can go into your zip folder that you got for your download from a website. That'll be in the downloads tab on my website, and do what I've just done, which is open the C4D file. So this is what you get. You get 3 Cinema 4D materials. Well, not in every download, but in this instance you've got 3. And you'll notice that if you go to the color channel in this, I've got it in a filter, and if we go inside that, we've got a substance shader, which is a shader type that you get when you get the substance plugin into Cinema 4D. Now, usually what you'd have to do is hook all these up and tweak them yourself, but I've done it for you. So when you open the asset, it is displayed as it should be. It's got a color channel, a diffusion channel for ambient occlusion. So if you have a look at this draw here for the draw material, and then turn the brightness of the ambient occlusion down, you can do it with the mix strength, I believe. There you go. You see it get light around the edges here, and if I turn it back up again, it puts the ambient occlusion back in. So these materials can be tweaked. I mean, I've got the color going through a filter, so you can change the hue if you wanted to. So you can see there you've got a different hue on that draw, and you'll also notice that we've got the reflectance set up. I use the metal rough workflow in Substance, but that's all plugged into the reflectance channel, so you don't have to do anything there. And we've also got a normal map that's generated by the substance material in the normal. I had to flip the y-axis. That's something you have to do. And we've also got a height map in the displacement. I've turned it off. I think the normal map does a good enough job. But also I've set up the Cinema 4D file so that the render settings are, it's got global illumination on it, and I've got a sky material. The actual HDRI that's in the sky material. Oh, it's taking its time, isn't it? I've put it in the luminance channel already, and it's just one of the Cinema 4D presets. Now, just to warn you, it may not be in the same location in, say, Cinema 4D R16. So for R16 users, if you notice that when you go to the Luminance channel, there's, this is black, or you go to render and it gives you a warning there's a missing texture, you can just grab one out the content browser. I'm sure you all know where they are by now, but just in case you don't. Oh, God. It's taking its sweet, sweet time, isn't it? So everything's set up for you. In fact, it's render ready. So, like I said, if you have got a missing texture there, just click on your presets. I'm using a Cinema 4D Studio edition, so I don't know what it's like in other editions, but if you click on preset and click on your search button and just type in HDR, then you'll have all these other options. So if it is missing from this material, all you have to do is make sure you clicked on the Luminance material, select one and drag it in, and then you've got your Luminance set up. Like I said, the GI is already set up, the global illumination, so we could just look at this and hit render. And it will give you a nice little preview of your object. So that's what it will look like when it's rendered. Okay, lovely. Just to note, this asset actually has a drawer in it, which can be taken out and animated and anything else that you want to do. It also has a drawer, a door even, and it's also textured on the inside as well. So if you needed that for whatever reason, it's already textured there. Now, like any Cinema 4D object, it's not set in it's not set in stone. You can use this as you would do any other Cinema 4D model, even though it's got a substance on it. It makes no difference. It's just a way of describing textures and materials. So if I wanted to, I could grab this and I could, I don't know, select its polys, and I could subdivide it. Where am I going? Subdivide. There we go. Sorry, I was going mental then. So I could subdivide it 3 times maybe, and you'll get this result. And you'll notice that because I've UV mapped the object so it's unwrapped, when I subdivide it, it doesn't screw up the UVs at all. The text just stays where it should be. If I go to a different display mode, it looks exactly as it did before. Which means I can do things like, I don't know, let's put a bend deformer on it for instance, and let's say fit to parents. That's fit there now, so I can do the bend strengths in, so you can deform these models and do anything you like with them, really. To an extent, obviously, if you stretch the material, the texture, past its sort of past the point where you can start seeing pixels and stuff, it's not going to look great. But for stuff like this, it's absolutely fine. That still looks good. So that's basically all we got to say about the Cinema 4D aspect of that. So we can close this now. So the other thing that you get in here is this Unity package. So let's open up a Unity scene. And the way you get it into Unity, so you set up your Unity project. I've just got a basic one here. There's nothing in it. So if you go up to Assets at the top here and then say Import Package, Custom Package, and then we go into our bedside table and grab our Unity package and say Open. It will decompress it. All you've got to do is select Import. And what it will do is it will create these 2 folders. You've got imports and prefabs. And the reason for that is the imports contains the actual FBX, which is this. And the materials contains the substance file. And it also contains this no name. And that's because I wouldn't worry about this. It's because when you export an FBX out of Cinema 4D with no materials, it will create a default one. But every time you bring in one of my assets, it won't duplicate this. It will just overwrite the no name in there. So it won't matter. That can sit in there. That's quite nice. So normally what would happen is you take your bedside table, drag it into your scene, and then you'll have to apply your materials and tweak the settings to get what you want. But I again have done the work for you, so you don't need to do that. So you can forget about the imports folder if you want to, and just click down this prefab. I've set up a prefab for you, so if you just drag that straight into the scene, we can have a look at that. And this is what it looks like in the game engine. So let's just select the draw again. Ooh, pardon me. Again, this can be moved out. It's just like any other asset. Again, if you wanted to, you could distort it or change it in Cinema 4D and then re-export the file to your game engine. So if you want to deform this, you could do. You could even animate it. You can do what you like, really. Also, if you want to change some of the material settings yourself, we've got this draw selected. Well, we did have. There we go. So as you can see, is a standard material with the substance material plugged into it already. Just to note, you can also change the resolution as well. So at the moment it's quite high. I think the body of this is on 248, but if you wanted to drop it down to say 256, you're making a mobile game or something like that, and then press apply, you'll notice that the texture is a lot lower resolution now. I mean, that's an extreme example there. So let's put it back up. Also, you can affect things like the albedo. You can actually tint it, so if I wanted it to be red or something like that, you can see that we can make it red. If you wanted to affect the height map, you can actually affect the height. You can see the parallax happening on this area here when I do that. On this, I'll leave it right down the bottom because the depth is quite subtle on this model. You can also choose how much ambient occlusion is on the model as well. I've included, in a lot of my stuff I use a screen space ambient occlusion, but you may want to use it in conjunction with the actual ambient occlusion map, so I've included that as well. And you can do what you'd normally do. You can do tiling. I don't know why you'd want to, but I think it's this one here. Yeah, there you go. So you can tile it as well. That looks like a right mess. But just to show you that it's got the usual Unity options. One important thing to note, if you're making your own models, and this is something I found out the hard way, if you bring your model in and your textures aren't being applied properly, if you go into the imports and choose the FBX, you need to leave the normals and tangents on these settings. So the normals it imports, the tangents calculate, because if you don't calculate them, the texture doesn't look right if you import them. I think the normal will be flipped, or the height value will be flipped, so you need to leave that alone. So if that's ever happening and you don't know why, that's why, because of this tangent option. You need to leave it on calculate tangent space. Okay, so I think that's pretty much everything covered. Oh yeah, just to note, if you buy one of my assets and you get these two folders, imports and prefabs, you're probably thinking, well, if I import another asset, am I going to get loads of duplicates of this crap in here? And the answer is no. So let's go to Assets, Import Package, Custom Package, and go to the desktop, and let's import another one. This is the fireplace. So double click on that. It will say, do you want to import all this? And you can see that the imports folder material and prefabs are grayed out. So if I import, it looks like nothing's happened down here, but in fact it's merged them. So now the FBX is in the imports folder, the material is being put in the materials, and you'll notice there's only one no name still, so that can stay there. And the prefabs folder has now got the fireplace asset in it. So let's just drag that into our scene, and we can flip it around and move it, I suppose. Move it out of the way. We can have a look at that, and as you can see, we've got a black marble tile here. It doesn't look like it's reflecting a lot, and that's purely because there's nothing in our scene. We haven't set up any reflection probes or anything like that. and it's just a blue sky. But once, say you dump this in a room and you set up some reflection probes, you get all those lovely reflections in that. In fact, if I go to the website, you get a little preview of what it will look like when you've got your full reflections in. So we'll go to the store. It wants to load, here we go, and then go to the PBR, furnitures and fixtures, and we'll go to the fireplace. And here we've got a Sketchfab preview, and you can zoom in and have a look at what the lighting's like on these tiles. So as you can see, I've tried to keep it nice and organised for you, and I've tried to make it painless so you don't have to set up the materials. You can just drag the asset in and use it as you like. You know, you can even duplicate this if you wanted to, so you can have a couple of them. And like any other asset, you can, so we'll select this bedside table and we'll just change it to static and say yes to change children. So that now becomes a static object, and that gets baked into your real-time lighting or your baked lighting. But because it's marked as static, it will receive global illumination properly as it should do. I hope this guide has been helpful in showing you what you get in the asset pack and how to use them. If you've got any questions, don't be afraid to grab hold of me at my email address, which is sam@digitalmeat.uk. I'll put a link to that underneath. In fact, if you go to my contact page, the about page on my website, you'll see it there. So that's it, guys. I hope that's been a help for you. Hope you enjoy your assets. Cheers. Bye.